Hello ladies and gentlemen, and movie lovers of all kind, and welcome back to the channel. As always, I am your host, Brett Murphy, and for today's video, I have a brand new versus video for you all, and it is going to be Evil Dead Rise versus Evil Dead 2013. So just a short few weeks ago, Evil Dead Rise was summoned into our theaters, and so far has been scaring up quite the profit at the box office. Just a day after I checked that movie out, I released my ranking of all of the Evil Dead movies, and throughout that comment section and on social media, I came to discover that there's actually a bit of controversy with this series. And that was that there seems to be a massive divide among the fan base as to which is better: the recently released Lee Cronin-directed Evil Dead Rise, or the 2013 Fede Alvarez-directed reimagining, because I don't really think it fits a reboot, remake, or a sequel like he claims, titled Evil Dead. They dropped the. And that is the question that I am aiming to answer today by comparing and contrasting these two movies across 9 rounds to determine just one winner. Before I hop into the actual showdown itself, I just wanted to let you all know that I have an entire playlist dedicated to all of my versus videos. We are closing in on 100 videos currently on that playlist, so if versus videos are your thing, then be sure to check that out, and I guarantee you'll find something you like. And so without further ado, let's hop right into things. Round 1. Plot. As per usual, or if you're new to the channel, this first round is talking just about the base plot. We are not talking about the storytelling as a whole, not talking about the pacing or the ending or the editing or anything like that, just the base plots. And with that being said, both of these plots at their most basic are essentially the same. A book made out of human flesh is found. Some idiot either reads from it or plays some sort of audio that was found with it. Demonic possession. That is Evil Dead in a nutshell. So it really comes down to a few minor tweaks and changes here and there, like the setting or the characters, or the reasoning for finding themselves in this position in the first place. For Evil Dead Rise, it is a twisted tale of two estranged sisters whose reunion is cut short by the rise of flesh-possessing demons, thrusting them into a primal battle for survival as they face the most nightmarish version of family imaginable. And as for Evil Dead 2013, 5 friends, 2 of them being family members, head to a remote cabin to help one individual kick their drug addiction, where the discovery of a Book of the Dead leads them to unwittingly summon up demons living in the nearby woods. What separates these two movies in my mind is that although I do admire the Evil Dead 2013 reimagining for giving our characters a reason for being in the cabin in the first place, not just for like a little vacation, and for a reason for staying, I do find that the way they get stuck there is a bit abrupt, and it really is just sort of a retelling of the original movie, whereas Evil Dead Rise tried something new. It set us up in the top floor of an apartment building, an earthquake rocks the building, making them unable to escape, and this time it is all family members. It is a mother and her children, and then her sister or their aunt. For me personally, those few little shifts and changes made a world of a difference, so I'm going to be giving this first round to Evil Dead Rise. Round 2. Storytelling. For both films, unsurprisingly, they play out quite similarly once again. There's nothing too shocking. It's all fairly predictable and don't really have much going on beneath the surface. It isn't necessarily a bad thing. They're Evil Dead movies, and they both do their job. They deliver exactly what you'd expect and what you'd want from them. However, the pacing of each is a little bit trickier, because the 2013 one doesn't waste a second when throwing you right into it. It takes very little time to get into the bloodshed. However, I feel it also works to the movie's detriment, as I feel we don't get any context to the situation beyond the surface level stuff or get to know the characters at all. But when it slams its foot down on the gas, it does not let up. However, I must admit that I also did find Evil Dead Rise to be a bit slower starting off. But it had, in my opinion, a way more memorable opening, and it gave us the right amount of time to meet all of the characters, get a feel for their situations, and then unleashes hell on them and us, really. Some feel this movie overstayed its welcome a little bit and the pacing wasn't the best in the middle, but I'd personally disagree. I thought it was well paced. Again, it made the necessary changes to the formula to make it feel fresh, new, and exciting. So this round is also going to be going to Evil Dead Rise. Round 3. Lead characters. For Evil Dead Rise, I decided to go with the entirety of the core family for this main characters category. And so this family consists of Beth, or Auntie Beth, Cassie, Bridget, and Danny, but the real star of the show, the one that steals every single scene she is in, is Alyssa Sutherland as Ellie, the mother of the children and our main Deadite. For the 2013 one, I feel you could make the argument that the entire group are also the main characters, but I really don't feel that way. I feel that our true lead characters are Mia and David. And when looking at those two as main characters, I did find David to be quite shallow. The actor was fine, I just don't think he was given much to work with. There wasn't much depth to the character. I found a lot of his dialogue to be just extremely generic. I did absolutely buy the terror and the fear in his eyes, and the more emotional beats later on with Mia I thought were solid too. But the character as a whole was just completely forgettable. Mia is definitely the star of the show with the 2013 one, as Jane Levy delivered a breathtaking performance, and I truly mean breathtaking. I mean, she gets the job done when she's in Deadite form, but even when she's not a full-blown Deadite, you still sympathize and empathize with her and her situation. You absolutely feel for her, and you are rooting for her to kick this addiction and to overcome the odds. However, overall, I just feel that the family are far more relatable, and they all give solid performances across the board, with, again, the top two being very close between Alyssa Sutherland's Ellie and Jane Levy's Mia. Those two are neck and neck. But when comparing David to the rest of the family from Rise, it's a no contest. Not to mention the dialogue from them was just far more believable, and the family element means that the Deadites' insults cut that much deeper. So this third round is also going to go to Evil Dead Rise. Round 4. Supporting characters. So I'm going to go with the neighbors as the supporting characters of Evil Dead Rise, and they are completely forgettable. They don't even have gruesome or memorable deaths to think back on fondly. They all get killed through a peephole. The performances aren't bad by any means, they're serviceable, but as characters, they're kind of just nothing. The supporting characters for the 2013 one would be the remainder of the friend group, which of course consists of the nurse Olivia, Natalie, the girlfriend, and the best character in the movie, well, aside from Mia, of course, is Eric. Even though he's the dimwit in this movie that unleashes hell upon himself and his friends, the guy is just so relatable. I feel like that would be me in this situation. I'd be like, what the hell are you talking about? Let's get the hell out of here. I don't care who that is. I don't care what's happened. I am leaving. Let's go. And again, I love the dialogue. I love the performance from the actor. And for me, Eric is just by far the most believable, probably across both of these movies. So the 2013 one is finally cracking the scoreboard, as this round is going to them. Round 5. Music and sound. In terms of soundtrack / score, I don't really feel like either one of these movies have anything special going for them. But it is the sound design for both of these movies where things start to get a little bit interesting. Rise has the creaks and groans of an old building, shrieks of the Deadites, the gruesome nature of the violence like the swallowing of the glass or the wood chipper and chainsaw, even simpler things like the smashing of the eggs from the trailer that was played on repeat but still sticks in my mind. 2013, on the other hand, has the ominous cracks and snaps of the forest. the pounding of the rain, and the copious amounts of gory mayhem to fill our ears with dread. The nail gun, the crowbar hits, the automatic kitchen knife, whatever the hell that thing was, the chainsaw, so much to love. And since I do also consider the soundtracks and score in this one, even though I did just say that neither one of them are all that memorable, I do feel that the 2013 one does get the slight edge by delivering a more eerie and pulse-pounding set of tunes. And so this fifth round is going to go to Evil Dead 2013. Round 6. Cinematography, Visuals, Editing. So firstly, both of these movies undoubtedly deliver the goods when it comes to paying homage to the series' roots, and just everything that makes this series so special and a beloved fan favorite. Evil Dead Rise has more camera trickery, more interesting shots, and much more of its own style. The editing is sharp, the visuals are horrifying, especially the monstrosity our heroes have to deal with in the end. All in all, it managed to satisfy my traditional Raimi-styled Evil Dead needs, but also set itself apart and felt like something new and refreshing. Now, of course, this whole video, really this whole series, actually everything to do with movies in general, it's all subjective, my own personal opinion. But with that being said, for me, when it comes to the 2013 Evil Dead, some of the editing choices felt odd and jarring at times, with random zoom-ins, quick cuts, and camera shakes. In some instances, it adds to the sense of fear and claustrophobia, but sometimes it did feel very overdone. The visuals are where the fun is at, though. This is some of the most gruesome, brutal, and shocking gore ever put to screen, unflinching in its chaos and bloodshed. However, I just found in the end that Lee Cronin and his team gave me much more to feast on, so this round goes to Evil Dead Rise. Round 7. Style, Aesthetic, Direction. Once again, movies completely subjective, so this is just my opinion, and I feel the need to continuously emphasize that, because there are quite a few people out there that still don't really understand that. However, the reason that I am mentioning that once again is because this round in particular is going to be very personal preference based. 2013, to me at least, just feels like a meaner, less fun and campy version of the original. It does nothing to really set itself apart aside from being gorier and having more of a grunge-y and darker look and feel. Fede Alvarez's direction is indeed solid, as the sense of isolation and helplessness is captured flawlessly, and the copious amounts of blood and guts are simply shocking and insane. But in terms of style, it feels like many other horror films of that early 2010s era. Rise has its own sense of style in my humble opinion. Lee Cronin's direction is the perfect blend of homage and originality, and I loved the dark, dank, and ominous aesthetic of the apartment building, the family's apartment itself as it gave you a real sense of who they are and how they live. It feels just genuine and lived in. I also, of course, love this modern version of our Deadites, as they are all just perfect. And not to mention, they don't just come off as mindless zombies like they do in the 2013 one, which was one of my biggest gripes with that movie. Plus, they also go down way too easy. What happened to Deadites being decapitated and still taunting our heroes? Like, none of that shit is found in here in the 2013 one. They go down too easily, and they just lack that personality of the original trilogy that gets brought back here. So although I must say that by no means am I trying to trash the style of the 2013 one, a lot of people really like and prefer that style. That's cool with me, it's just not my cup of tea. I thought that Evil Dead Rise had so much more flavor, so I'm giving this round to Evil Dead Rise. Round 8. Memorability. Truthfully, even though I do really enjoy both of these movies, I just don't feel like either one of them does enough to stand out from the crowd among the vast horror genre. The two best performances, once again, come from our main Deadites, being Jane Levy as Mia and Alyssa Sutherland as Ellie, because their level of commitment is nearly unmatched. But none of the other performances really rocked our worlds. Neither of the stories have anything new or original to offer, really. However, It's been a decade since the release of the 2013 Evil Dead, and people still reference just how gruesome, visceral, and unrelenting it is. So I guess that's gotta count for something. They really went all in, using a ton of practical effects and never shying away from the brutality. The movie relies super heavily on the shock value of its blood and guts, and I guess it appears to have worked to the movie's advantage, because this round is going to Evil Dead 2013. Final round, horror and dark comedy elements. The horror portion of this final round will definitely be a little more subjective, but I don't personally think that's quite the case when it comes to the dark comedy elements. Rise having family members, feeling like everyone had just as good a chance at survival or death, considering half of the cast are kids. Alyssa Sutherland's performance, the setting, all of it is superior in my mind to that of the 2013 one. I love the design of the Deadites in 2013, they're horrifying, and Jane Levy's performance was impeccable. But gore isn't scary, hate to break it to everyone. Yes, it's disturbing, yes, we all winced and cringed and could only imagine how awful it would be to be in their position. Yes, it's a nightmarish scenario, but nothing about the movie was inherently scary. Rise delivered on the scares, the atmosphere was better executed, the stakes felt higher and more personal, and all around it was more than just a torture porn splatterfest. As for the dark comedy, nobody can convince me that the 2013 Evil Dead has any ounce of that at all. The 2013 version being so gory was absolutely not meant to be comedic. The tone of the movie is so contradictory to that. It isn't comedic at all. It's trying to be a full-blown horror movie. Anything you find funny about this movie, I can almost 110% guarantee is completely unintentional. Rise, on the other hand, did put in an active effort to be darkly comical. From someone dying by choking on an eyeball, to some of these shockingly twisted lines the Deadites happen to spit out, and a few other moments here and there that show that Cronin purposefully wove in plenty of homages to Raimi's movies and made sure to keep in tune with their tone. Some of you may disagree with that, and that's perfectly okay. I totally understand, and I'm not saying you're wrong at all, nor am I saying I am right. This is just my video, just my opinion, and with that being said, the 9th and final round, and the crown is going to go to Evil Dead Rise. So that is all for today's video, folks. Be sure to let me know down in the comments if you agree or disagree with my winner. While you're at it, don't forget to let me know who you would have picked to win each round and who your overall winner would have been. If you're a movie lover whatsoever, then my channel is the place to be for you. Be it versus videos like this one, rankings, top 10s, tier videos, I have it all, and so much more on the way. And we are closing in on 800 videos on the channel for you to enjoy. So if you enjoyed this particular video, then be sure to hit that thumbs up button. And if any of that sounds like it's right for you and you want to see more from me, then smash that subscribe button right now. While you're at it, don't forget to ring that little bell icon. That way you can be notified about all of my latest uploads. And as always, stay safe. Thank you so much for watching. And that's a wrap. Hey you, yeah you, if you made it this far, just know I appreciate you. And while you're here, consider hitting that subscribe button.